นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังนัมมัสสามิ Today at the monastery, I was talking to a man who had been suffering with cancer for quite a while. And obviously that illness had changed his life and given him a lot of pain and physical discomfort. His doctor, he's mentioning his doctor gave him advice how to deal with it. His doctor is an atheist, so he's not a religious man. But he said the best medicine for cancer is happiness. Make your mind happy. And that was based on your experience of dealing with people with cancer. And that seemed to be a very wise bit of advice. Just pointing to the truth that our mind is the forerunner of everything that we do in terms of our actions. And that also affects our physical well-being as well. Nowadays, the science and the research seems to all confirm this. And this is in line with what the Buddha taught as well, that the happy mind is the mind, we say, the mind with merit, the mind of wholesome Dhammas, and that has its own good effect, good result in our life all the time. And one result is that physically our body is supported by the happiness of the mind. Even if you have a serious illness like cancer, often your body will do better when your mind is in a more relaxed, contented state, when you have more positive emotions arising. So the opposite of becoming depressed or giving up on it, becoming anguished or despairing of the disease. If we can maintain a skillful, good state of mind, happy state of mind, as we encounter illness or other problems and stresses in life, we tend to do better. Really, the whole Buddhist path is helping us to do that, how to develop our mind in a good way so that we experience more deeper, more profound happiness, longer lasting happiness, and moving towards the highest happiness, which is Nibbana, the mind that is completely free from stress, suffering, the mind of the unconditioned, the mind that is well developed. And the moment we're just entering the rains retreat, 3 months, it's a good opportunity for everyone to devote themselves to the practice that the Buddha taught a little bit more than usual, maybe. Just as we have excuses not to practice, which we love to throw up when someone encourages us to meditate or practice some generosity or go to a temple, do some dana. We have our excuses why we shouldn't do that. Now I'm suggesting we have an excuse why we should practice, because it's the rains retreat. This is the time to really put effort into your practice, it's a good excuse to practice. And what is the purpose of it? Well, to develop the causes of happiness, a happy mind, through our skillful actions, through our physical actions, verbal actions, and then mentally as well. Happiness has to come through a cause. It's not random, even though, again, the mind tends to throw that up as a possibility. Some people are just happy, and some are not. But the Buddha in his wisdom went further than that and said, well, no, these things do have causes. And the development of a happy mind and the causes for happiness will flow on into all aspects of your life. Particularly if your body is benefiting from a happy mind, well, wherever you go in your life, you take your body with you, don't you? Of course, this body is an impermanent thing that's made up of these four natural elements that we were just meditating on. In one way, in Buddhism, we talk about illness. We say, well, it's an imbalance. These four elements are somehow out of balance as they manifest in the body due to the influence of whatever, whether it's injury, bacteria, virus, or just aging of the body. The four elements, earth, air, fire, water, become out of balance. One thing's not right. You're too hot when you have a fever, it's too hot. Sometimes if it's too cold, that can make us ill. Different things go wrong because the elements become out of balance. But when we put effort into, particularly into the developing the qualities of meditation, like the positive emotions of the divine abidings, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, when we develop mindfulness, clear comprehension on a meditation object, such as the breath, and when we develop understanding by contemplation, investigating the truth, all of these actions tend to calm the mind down, bring us peace, sense of well-being. And that also balances the four elements. So when I was a young monk, I used to look after Ajahn Chah. Used to be in the team of monks who would help him for many years because he was ill for about 10 years. And many times he used his samadhi, his meditative ability, to adjust his body to cope with serious illness. And over again, we observed how his practice of meditation boosted his chances of survival and just allowed his body to carry on, sometimes to recover when it was really weak, to refresh the body, the cells, and the immune system to cope with different illnesses that he was experiencing. You know, we witnessed that, observed that over and over again. Just the same as that doctor was saying, you know, a happy mind will help you deal with cancer. We observe that all the time with Luang Por Chah, and many other monks I've known over the years have shown that ability to use meditation to calm the mind and at the same time calm the body and bring a sense of stability, balance to the elements, stability, which helps the immune system and dealing with pain, illness, injury. And of course, helps the mind in the process of becoming more and more clearly aware of the mind balancing the mind, the mental faculties. Just as the physical faculties can be balanced through meditation, we can balance the mental faculties. As we become more mindful, as we practice meditation, say for this period of the range retreat, you could commit to meditating once, twice, 3 times a day. You'll find that all kinds of very subtle and maybe not so subtle benefits come from that practice of meditation. As your practice of mindfulness improves and you develop more clear comprehension and more understanding of your own mind and how to let go of negative thoughts, stressful thoughts, you'll see a transformation, a change taking place. It may be very subtle, very slow, or sometimes it may be very obvious when you let go of something that's been bothering you. But if you really take this period of 3 months to do that, you might find by the end of 3 months, you can look back and say, oh, this is something that really benefited me, helped me physically and mentally. One of the practices we focus on in the monastery is walking meditation as well. And it's something lay people, if I ask them, they often say they never do it, maybe only when they're on a retreat, a particular retreat, and there's a period of walking meditation is part of that retreat schedule. But that's also something you could experiment with during this 3 months period, especially if you're finding that your sitting meditation, you have obstacles. So sometimes you're sleepy or you have pain in the body. Practice some walking meditation. You can do that indoors in a small room or a big room, outdoors if you have that opportunity, just depending where you are. And it's a very useful addition to your meditation practice, and you gain the same benefits as you do when you're sitting meditation, maybe even some benefits you don't get from when you're sitting meditation, but you're developing the mind in the same way. Mindfulness, clear comprehension, effort, energy, patience. And as you practice more walking meditation, tranquility of body and mind, and eventually samadhi, states of calm can arise. And the Buddha pointed out that when you practice walking meditation, the samadhi that arises can last a long time, as you've learned to be mindful as you're moving the body back and forth, pacing up and down. And the state of mindfulness and concentration that arises goes with you as you leave your walking meditation, go off, do other activities. It tends to stay with you longer than sitting meditation, unless you become very skilled in your sitting meditation. Most people find sitting meditation, when they finish the sitting, they get up to do other things very quickly. It all dissipates. Any peace, calm, mindfulness that they attain seems to fade away. Whereas walking meditation, the results seem to stay better, longer. And you can also investigate how both the body and the mind calm down through walking meditation. As you walk up and down, and mindfulness becomes stronger, you experience steadiness of mind and some rapture and some peace and contentment can arise. So your whole body can feel better from that walking. It's exercise as well, so it's good in that sense. Just moving the body can be very beneficial, boost the immune system, but mentally as well. The qualities of samadhi, the factors of samadhi can come up as you practice walking meditation. walking back and forth. And if you get into it, in that sense, just the timelessness, the peace of the mind can take over. And if you don't have any other particular business to do, you can just keep walking. 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, even several hours, if you really get into it. This is something, this is the time to experiment with things like that. Sitting longer, sitting more often, walking more often. Or if you've never tried walking meditation, then try it. When you find it difficult to sit, you can always walk. If you're falling asleep when you're sitting, then you can get up and walk. And it's much harder to fall asleep when you walk. And when you're walking, you can practice samatha, developing your mindfulness on one simple object. So it could be the recitation of Buddho, 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 or putting attention on your feet, the movement of the feet, touching the ground, lifting, touching, stepping. Or some people, when they're walking slowly and their mindfulness is quite strong, they can even be aware of the breath as they're walking. Still follow the breath. But you can also develop vipassana, insight, as you walk. And you can focus your mind on the perception of impermanence, the movement of the body, changing sensations arising, passing away, feelings arising, passing away. You can observe thoughts arising and passing away. So whether you're sitting or walking, meditation can bring you some of this inner calm and happiness that will be both beneficial for your health, but also for developing insight and understanding. It supports insight meditation, because when your mind is more calm, you can see things more clearly. You're just developing this quality of the inner knowing of the mind. And this inner knowing is like an inner witness of your experience, but without getting caught into a lot of views and opinions, not overthinking about things, but just watching and observing, whether you're sitting or walking. This is something we're aiming to develop more and more, just this ability to observe and not get involved with the body, feelings, thoughts and mental states. Just observing the way things are, and particularly seeing the universal characteristics, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and the selfless nature of things. Things arise, pass away according to causes and conditions. So letting go of the doer, the controller, which is so habitual. It's that, when we have that strong sense of self trying to control everything, we're always reacting, moving around, reacting with mental movements, so attraction and aversion, liking, disliking, wanting, not wanting, competing, comparing, worrying, fearing, and then physically moving as well. The more we react to things, the less mindfulness and awareness we have, the more we physically move around and react to things. But as this inner witness comes up when you practice in all postures, mindfulness as you sit, as you walk, as you're lying down, then you're just observing. Your mind goes deeper inwards. It's just observing and knowing experience rather than getting caught up in it, rather than forming opinions about everything and then acting according to those views and opinions. Just watching from a very peaceful place, observing the way things are. The more we do that, the better we get at it, and the more we become familiar with it. But you have to give yourself a chance. Say, like for these 3 months of the range retreat, give yourself the chance to really taste this inner peace and develop this inner witness who can know the way things are. And what supports that also is just patient effort, being willing to be patient with whatever comes up, not always reacting with your attachments. So even if you're not peaceful at all, or you have physical pain, or mental anguish, despair, confusion, worry, just observing it from this place of peace. Just saying, oh, it's like this, it arises, it passes away, it's like this, but not encouraging it or indulging it. This is a skill we have to learn through practice. Sometimes we have it, other times we don't have it, and that's the time you need to practice. For people regularly, they say that when they come to the monastery and they stay, and they say they practice walking meditation. They'll have periods when they're walking and they just want to stop. They can't do it. Their mind is not disciplined enough, or it's caught into a mood. They're feeling restless or bored or distracted. They can't do it. But I usually give them the encouragement. I say, well, if you want to stop your meditation, that's exactly the time to keep going. When you have the thought, I want to stop doing this, just catch that thought, become aware of it, so become mindful, and then carry on. Keep going and see what happens with the the interest to learn from your experience, to find out what's it like if I keep going rather than follow the mood that says do something else. If I don't do something else, I just carry on walking here, or carry on sitting, watching my breath, what will happen? And people regularly have breakthroughs and insights and good experiences by simply not giving in to the desire to stop the meditation and do something else. At the very least, they learn to see that desire is an impermanent thing. It's not really you or a self. It's just a mental state that arises, passes away. And when you establish mindfulness and watch it and investigate it, you can see that. You're witnessing desire arise, pass away. And then you know that's its nature. If you have the thought, I am bored, well, that's just a thought, isn't it? I am bored. There may be other aspects to it. Maybe there's something else you can think of that you think will be better or bring you more satisfaction, more pleasure at that time. So it makes you feel what you're doing now is boring. If you can just keep watching and learning from that experience, you'll see the very thought, I am bored, I don't want to do this, when will I stop? However it comes up, it's just a thought. Maybe accompanied by a certain feeling, restlessness. But just watch that and it will change, because that's its nature. It's just a thought that arises, passes away. It's just a feeling that arises, passes away. But you have to have enough patience, enough effort to witness that, see it through. This isn't theoretical Buddhism now. This is just watching and learning from your own experience of the body as the mind and body settles down, as the four physical elements settle down and the mental activities settle down as you practice mindfulness. You can observe desires arising, passing away, strong desires, weak desires, very involved moods, just passing random thoughts. The whole spectrum of human experience, you can observe things arising, passing away. And what's left is this inner witness, the inner knowing that just knows, these things are all impermanent, unsatisfactory, and not really a self or a person as such. This inner witness is like our friend, because it brings us to a place of higher happiness, where we're much more relaxed and at ease, even if we're experiencing restlessness, boredom, disappointment, anguish. If you can go to that point where you're just witnessing these feelings and moods and emotions rather than indulging them and getting lost in them, then you've got a way out, and you've got a way to let go, way to go beyond them. They don't bother you so much. And most people find if you use a combination of sitting and walking meditation, you can make this quality of the inner knowing of the mind stronger, more continuous. Keep it going. If you're sitting and you find the pains are very intolerable, which is quite possible, well, you can get up and you can do walking meditation, but keep the quality of awareness going. And you carry on contemplating, watching different thoughts and desires arise, pass away. Keep looking to see where is the self in that. How real, how strong, how real are they? They're not. They're just passing moods and emotions. Just as the physical elements are changing, you get different sensations coming up in your body, and you feel strong, and then you feel weak, you feel energetic, you feel tired, hot and cold, hungry, full, mentally as well. Mental activity, moods, emotions come and go. This is giving your mind clarity, understanding, how to let go. By seeing things as impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self. Maybe in the beginning you can only do this a little bit. If you only practiced a little bit, your mind doesn't feel yet very strong, very confident. But if you keep going, you gain in confidence, and then what you've seen and understood before, you can build on that. So maybe you can take on or experience more difficult things without getting lost in those moods, those feelings, those experiences, even something as frightening, say, as cancer or some other illness. You can apply exactly the same insight to that and just observe the feelings arising, passing away. It's not going to make it any more pleasant, but it can stop the mind getting so caught up in it. And you become much more aware of the mind itself rather than the body. It's this phrase we call nama and rupa. As you become more mindful, you can see nama, or the mental qualities of the mind, the knowing, the thinking, the feeling, the memories, are one thing, and then the physical form that we have here is another. As mindfulness is stronger, then you separate between the physical body and the mind. And you see more clearly they're two different things. Sometimes you might have an experience where the mind seems to become really separate from the body. It's as if just looking back at the body, and the body is one thing, but you don't feel any ownership of it. You're just witnessing it, observing it, but without feeling too involved in it or feeling that it's you or yours. And then there's the mind that knows, and they're like two separate things. And suddenly the body doesn't seem so important. You realize that one day this body, we're going to have to leave it when we die. So the thought of death or pain or illness It's not what we want, but it's also not so frightening or concerning, because it doesn't last. It's never going to last. The mind is what knows that. As you practice, you can separate between mind and body. That separation brings great happiness to the mind. The body is a physical burden, isn't it? It's a pain. The body keeps bringing us pain over and over again. Not all the time, but it keeps kind of coming back, doesn't it? As we get older, as we go through life. But the mind that knows that doesn't have to take on the pain as self. We just know, oh, it's just like that. And the mind can stay in a place of separation where it's peaceful and happy on its own, just knowing things, but without getting too caught up in them. So I hope you can all practice more of that this next 3 months. You make your determination. If you need to, you write it down as a schedule, how you're going to spend your time every day. Divide your time between work, family, other activities, but also how much time you're going to spend meditating, listening to Dhamma, chanting. If it helps you, write it down as a little schedule that you can keep to every day. When you reach a certain time, you say, this is the time to meditate, this is the time to listen to Dhamma. You can write it down what time you're going to get up in the morning, what time you go to bed at night. If that helps, it's one way to get more discipline and really use your time effectively, use it well. And just do it. Once you've decided, you made your decision, you just do it. You don't have to think about it so much anymore. You don't have to follow your preferences. You just follow your schedule. So first thing in the morning, you might wake up and you say, I don't really want to meditate. Doesn't matter. You just... So maybe I'll leave you with these thoughts tonight and in the talk there.
Andamayang Dhammakataya Sadhu Karang Tadamase Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu